Welcome back. I am your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy, as the guy just said.
That's right.
And this is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560, The Answer. And I am here with Deborah and Jim, and we're going to do the Mr. Know-It-All segment.
And now, here's that man with a head just crammed full of knowledge, Mr. Know-It-All.
That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Know-It-All, the segment where Attorney Leahy gives us infinite wisdom on all things taxes. I don't know if it's infinite because the tax code is very complicated.
Right. It is
but
complicated.
That's why I'm asking you, which is this week's question. Do you happen to have a class for people to attend, or do you happen to do a town hall? Do you have something that the public can attend?
Well, that's a good question, because we just did the town hall at the Freedom Summit.
That's right.
Remember? And we talked about the tax reform,
which was tough because we didn't know what was going to be in the bill.
But it still worked out really well.
I thought it worked really well.
And so I think it's if you have a group or someone that wants information about taxes, IRS. So maybe I have a real estate group, and we want to know, because a lot of those people are independent contractors and they have questions about IRS problems, right? Or if you have questions about your group about bankruptcy or things like that, then I think I'd be happy to appear in front of your group and ask those or answer those questions that your group might have, and I'll record it and we'll put it out. But one thing I am doing, and I recently became I'm not officially a faculty member yet, but
what do you mean?
APEXCLE.com, APEXCLE.com.
What does CLE stand
CLE
for?
stands for Continuing Legal Education.
Oh!
So I have put together a class for other lawyers, because I want to see what's happening. Too many people come to see me and they had problems when they filed bankruptcy that their bankruptcy lawyer didn't understand taxes. And who gets the short end of the stick? The client. Okay, so for one way to help people, I think that don't hire me, is to help lawyers understand what the law is.
So you're giving back to the craft.
Absolutely, and helping other lawyers help people, and that's what this show is all about: is helping people with tax problems. So I can't help everybody, and this CLE is really for people across the nation, and other bankruptcy attorneys should know this stuff, and so that's what my class is going to teach them about how to discharge taxes in bankruptcy. And I've talked about that on this show before, and so I'm going to review it a little bit here. Now, it gets complicated. It's a complicated area of the law.
Earlier, yeah.
But when you're trying to discharge taxes in bankruptcy, and I can't tell you how many people come to see me when I mention bankruptcy, because one of the 6 things you can do if you owe the IRS money, right, Jim? The 5th thing you can do in my list. You can pay them.
Is that 4?
The 5. Number 5 is generally bankruptcy. You can pay them. You can get installment agreement. You can do offer and compromise. You can do it currently not collectible status, or you can file bankruptcy. 6th thing is you can do nothing. Don't do that. Do something. Anyway, if you file bankruptcy, I hear people say, "I didn't know you could discharge taxes in bankruptcy. I always understood you couldn't." Well, there's 5 rules that you've got to know if you're going to try to discharge taxes in bankruptcy. So the first one is the taxes must be due more than 3 years ago. So that's 3 years from the date of and as we know, taxes are generally due on April 15th. But as we've experienced the last couple of years, it's not April 15th sometimes. Sometimes it's April 17th. Sometimes it's April 18th. And this is because Emancipation Day.
And then we forget, too, that we file an extension, but we realize that
very good. Now that goes October.
Really doesn't.
So that goes to October 15th. So even if I filed it in August, if I ask for an extension, it's not due till October. So then it's 3 years from that date. So that gets complicated, and that's something you got to look at. The second thing, it's got to be due more than 2 years ago. I mean, I must have filed it more than 2 years ago. Now, what I've learned is, and of course what I'm trying to teach people around the nation is, some circuits say even if your tax return is 1 day late, it's never going to be a tax return. Those taxes can never be discharged. And there's a couple of circuits around the nation that follow that rule. But luckily here in Illinois, we don't follow that rule. And so if you filed a late tax return, you can still discharge those taxes, and that's very important. The third rule is they must be assessed more than 240 days ago. And this can be important because the IRS has 3 years to audit you. And so even though you filed, it was due more than 3 years ago, and you filed it more than 3 years ago, you still might have just been audited, and they might have just assessed a tax against you, and that has to be more than 240 days ago. And then
so you're being proactive in that point.
Well, that's right. And then, but you got to look at all these numbers.
Instead of waiting for them to go after you.
You got to look at all these numbers, and you got to make sure that they fit, okay? And then the fourth, and the fifth rule really have to do with fraud. Have you been trying to evade your taxes? Have you employed any fraudulent way to try to avoid your taxes? Or filed a false tax return? If those two are true, then they'll never be dischargeable. But those are the 5 things. So anyway, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Mr. Know-It-All.
That's right. Thank you, Mr. Know-It-All. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a group that wants to have somebody come speak at your next meeting or town hall event, or listen, Attorney Stephen Lee, he'd be a great little step in there and give information to you guys. It's tax season. It's time to think that way.
That's a good question.
Open Tax Resolution 312-664-6649 or visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. That's going to be your hub to fight the IRS. Now, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We're going to wrap this show up different than any other way we've done before. We're going to continue talking a little bit about, Trump and everything, because we really didn't hit everything there. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned, because after the commercial break, we got great...
Hustle up the Hancock.
Hustle up the Hancock. Great show to wrap up. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned here on AM 560.
The Answer.